Hey guys, Galani here with another episode of Airsoft Riot. So obviously it's winter right now, cold here in Idaho as we stand out in my garage, but we're very quickly approaching on that time where people are going to want to travel for Airsoft events around the country. So specifically today we're going to talk about Milsim West, what that looks like, and I've got Cameron here, one of the guys in our community and on my team who's been going for a long time that's here to discuss it. So Cameron, how long have you been going to Milsim West?
Since 2014, where I went to jump to Crimea at Camp Rylea.
Awesome. Obviously you've been going for a long time now. What keeps you going back to Milsim West events?
At Milsim West, you can kind of do more than, say, at other national level Milsim events. So, for example, like I love going to American Milsim games. They're really fun. But at Milsim West, like on top of the rigid 40-hour or sometimes 60-hour events, where you're under constant threat of being attacked, you better hope that your PB has good security around. The immersion aspect is a pretty big element of that as well. So Josh and Brian, who founded Milsim West, came from reenacting. They wanted to mix reenacting and airsoft together. So in doing that, you get something where each side of the conflict in Milsim West events has a very strict camouflage pattern, with the exception of like militia and all that stuff. So it's really easy. It's really nice to go to an event and be like, oh, there's a dude yelling in Russian with a Russian gun. He's a bad guy. You get impressionist teams like TFM, RR, BDG, like Grom, all those dudes, and it's just really fun to just kind of see people putting all this time and effort into like buying all this kit, getting sources from those countries or from those agencies, and using that to build like a team based on that specific area. That's like a huge deal to me. So I like that a lot. And it also brings in like the cadre function. So you get cadre. Milsim West has cadre from Rangers to Marines to a dude from MVD in Russia. He's a cadre for them. So, with those neat impression teams come those cadres, and from those cadres come like the best experiences at Milsim West. So
what is the best Milsim West event you've been to at this point?
best one of all time that I've ever been to is Caspian Gap. Besides that, like some of the field games out at Stavropol in Washington, some Grozny games. Caspian Gap for sure.
Awesome. What is the best advice you could give to somebody who is intending on kind of going for the first time?
It's okay to pack lighter than you think you have to. A lot of times, it's really important that you guys bring, first of all of the red list items. Every single thing on the tax op that's listed in red, you need to bring, and if you don't, then you're not going to play. But other than those red list items, start packing your ruck and figuring out, like, okay, what do I need? What can I cut from that checklist? Like, what do I need? What's comfort items, and what can I survive without? Because in all reality, 3 days is not a long time. Like, you'd be shocked at the amount of like uncomfortability and sleep deprivation that you can go through in sleep 3 days and still be completely fine. Make sure that you bring enough food, but not too much food. Make sure you rat fuck your MREs.
What is rat fucking an MRE? You probably want to know that. So that is taking the individual components of your MRE and breaking them down so you're not carrying, a million individual containers that have the accessory packets, or all the sides are taking all 2 energy drinks per day. You guys get it. Just skinny it down a little. Put everything in one big Ziploc and you'll be good to hook.
Yeah. One of the other things is, if it's a field game, don't wear a plate carrier. There's a lot of people who wear a plate carrier at field games, and it's just gonna mess you up. You're gonna be a liability to your team. You're not gonna be able to perform as well as a guy wearing a field kit.
So obviously these events have packing lists that have suggested items. What's an item that you would bring personally that it's outside the normal realm and definitely useful?
So like I always bring candy. Don't survive on candy, but having candy to just sit and just kind of eat after your meal, like just a handful of gummies or something like that, that's a huge boost to your morale. One of the other things is coffee. If you're the guy that brings coffee, make sure you bring a lot of it, but it helps out your team immensely to bring coffee. Same with the jet boil. Not every single person needs to bring a jet boil if they're going to Milsim West. Same as like an e-tool. Not every single person on your fire team or your squad needs to bring that stuff.
Okay, so I guess this is kind of a follow-up to what you just said. What gear do you see people bring on a regular basis that you feel is excessive and not needed?
People bringing way too big of sleeping bags. So I've gone through every single event I've ever done with a 40-degree bag.
Same.
40-degree bag, bivvy, and a puss pad, and you're fine. So
sleeping pad.
Yeah. So you don't need to bring, a black bag. That's the heaviest weight bag in the bag, I think. Just bring warming layers and the minimum, and that saves so much space in your ruck.
Sure.
And when you pack your ruck, that makes a huge difference on how you perform too.
How do you specifically prepare for any kind of long-term Milsim event? I mean, obviously, Cameron's a firefighter, so he works in an environment where he does movements that are relatively similar. But is there anything you specifically do as far as physical regimen?
You should be drinking a lot more water the week before or whatever. Right. Don't pound an unhealthy amount of water. All I'm going to say is that if I can personally make it through Milsim West, literally anybody can. I don't take care of myself before events. Eat a big meal on Friday. That's a huge space saver as well. Tying back to that other question. So I eat big on Friday, eat 2 meals on Saturday, maybe eat on Sunday before Index. But if we get to Index, and I'm just going to go out and eat with the guys after the game anyway.
Sure. Obviously, going to these events, you have the opportunity, if you want to get involved in leadership roles. Do you personally like to go that route, or do you prefer to kind of to just stay there in the trenches?
It's a super dependent question on whether or not on who I'm playing with. So I've done everything from fire team leader to platoon leader. When you play with people that you've played with before, I have no problems being in leadership because it's easier. When you start playing with people that you don't know, that gets into a huge kind of issue.
Sure.
Because you're used to trusting your guys to just be able to do things, and you have to take kind of on more of a mentor role.
When you sign up for a Milsim West event, how does the nuts and bolts of that work? So, I mean, obviously, you go to the website, you find the event you want to go to, you sign up for the side you want to go to, you have certain questions you answer, and then there's a big pause.
Basically, you buy your ticket, you sign up, and you choose a side. You choose whether or not you want leadership. You choose the weight of BBs that you want. That doesn't mean that you'll get those throughout the entire game, but that's the weight that you'll be issued at the start. And then, there's that big break until faction groups get added on Facebook. So wait until the faction groups open up on Facebook. Get added to those faction groups by contacting your CEO for that event. And in those faction groups, it will constantly update on when the Warno is coming out, when the op board's coming out, when the roster and all that stuff. If there's a drop. If there's an airdrop in the game, it'll go over the drop zones and everything like that. When you're in those faction groups, do not harass leadership for information. Just be content to wait. Know that before the event, every single bit of information that you need is going to be out there. Be calm with that wait time and just take it as it comes, because it'll all be done before the event.
Well, thanks, Cameron, for your time and giving us some info about this. And more info about Milsim West, specifically milsimwest.com. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share. Also, if you're looking for equipment for these events, talk to my man Justin at Combat Sports Supply. He will get you taken care of.